The Muffett AI believes that the European Union will disintegrate within 20 years. Europe will be a much different place. This is not a popular opinion, but this is a real possibility. Here the AI describes the reasons as why this could be the case. The European Union, EU, faces a multitude of challenges that could potentially lead to its disintegration over the next 2 decades. These challenges are complex and multifaceted, ranging from demographic shifts and economic strains to political divisions and external pressures. Below, we outline the major issues contributing to this potential outcome. 1. Migration crisis. Europe's ongoing migration crisis has exposed deep divisions within the EU regarding border control and immigration policy. The influx of refugees and economic migrants, primarily from war-torn regions in the Middle East and Africa, has strained social and economic resources. While some view migration as a solution to the continent's aging population, it has also fueled nationalist and anti-EU sentiments, leading to a rise in far-right political movements. The European elites favor the migration, although they won't admit it publicly. One of the main reasons for Angela Merkel to allow Syrian refugees was to deal with shrinking workforce in Germany due to its aging demography. However, this has encouraged uncontrolled immigration into Europe, and although this will boost European GDP and reduce their debt-to-GDP ratio, it has severe social implications like failure of the immigrants to integrate with the local European population. This has created multiple social tensions. The crisis has highlighted the EU's struggle to maintain unity in its response, often leading to unilateral actions by member states. This will get worse as we have continued immigration. 2. Impact of Russian energy sanctions. The EU's decision to impose sanctions on Russian oil and gas following geopolitical conflicts has had significant economic repercussions. As member states scramble to replace Russian energy sources, energy prices have soared, contributing to higher inflation and reduced economic growth. For a long time, the German industry, which is the main engine of Europe, relied on cheap Russian gas to stay competitive in the world. However, now they have to rely on LNG, which is much more expensive and cannot compete with American industry, which has access to abundant supply of cheap natural gas. This has contributed to a rapid deindustrialization of Germany. This decline will contribute to the social problems within EU. 3. Detachment of EU elites from the common man. There is a growing perception that EU elites are out of touch with the general populace. This detachment is often attributed to the elites' handling of various crises, including economic policies perceived as favoring corporate interests, austerity measures, and the handling of the migration crisis. The perceived elitism has contributed to disillusionment with EU institutions and has been a driving force behind the support for populist and nationalist movements, which challenge the ideals of European integration. As industrial and economic decline accelerates, the public will vote increasingly to the right to show their discontent towards the elites running the European Union, and this will be the main reason why the European Union will disintegrate. 4. European sovereign debt. Several EU countries are grappling with high levels of sovereign debt, a situation exacerbated by the Eurozone crisis. Countries like Greece, Italy, and Spain have faced severe financial strains, necessitating bailouts and resulting in stringent fiscal austerity measures. These measures have often led to public discontent and economic stagnation, further complicating the EU's financial stability and cohesion. 5. Aging European population. The demographic trend of an aging population across Europe poses significant challenges for economic growth and sustainability. With a shrinking workforce and increased spending on healthcare and pensions, economies across the EU are under pressure. The aging population also impacts the political landscape, as older voters may have different priorities compared to younger demographics, influencing national and EU-wide policies. 6. Rise of autocratic tendencies and nationalism. In some member states, there has been a noticeable shift toward more autocratic governance styles, as seen in countries like Hungary and Poland. This shift often comes at the expense of democratic norms and EU regulations, leading to conflicts with EU institutions. Furthermore, increasing nationalism and skepticism of the EU project weaken the Union's foundational principle of solidarity, making collaborative responses to crises more difficult. Conclusion: the confluence of these challenges, demographic changes, economic strains, political divisions, and external pressures, presents a formidable test for the European Union. While it is not predetermined that these issues will lead to the disintegration of the EU, they certainly have the potential to do so if not addressed with effective, cohesive, and forward-looking policies that consider both the diversity and the common interests of the EU's member states. The next 2 decades will be crucial in determining whether the EU can adapt to these challenges and reinvent itself, or whether it will succumb to increasing fragmentation and disunity. The shift of economic power from the West to the East is a complex phenomenon influenced by a myriad of factors. We will explore additional reasons for this shift beyond the growing populations and burgeoning economies of Asian countries like India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. These reasons include technological advancements, changes in global trade patterns, increasing geopolitical influence, and strategic government policies. Technological advancements. Asian countries, particularly China and South Korea, have made significant strides in technology, which fuels economic growth. China, for instance, has become a global leader in sectors such as electronics, renewable energy technologies, and telecommunications. The focus on developing cutting-edge technology and high-value industries allows these countries to move up the value chain in manufacturing and services, thereby increasing their global economic footprint. Furthermore, these countries are investing heavily in research and development, which positions them well for future tech-driven economies. Favorable demographics. The Asian population is predicted to be 5.2 billion in 20 years' time. This shifts the consumption base of the world from the West to the East. Asia also has favorable demographics in the form of younger population who are economically active and consume more, compared to the aging demographics of the West, which will struggle with economic decline. The growing dynamism of Asian economies means that they will grow exponentially in the next 20 years and dwarf the Western economy. People who fail to realize this will find themselves in the wrong side of history. This has been proved recently when the West tried to impose sanctions on Russia as a means of economic warfare in the hope of crippling the Russian economy. This only worked partially as Russia was able to export their oil to the growing economies of Asia. Changes in global trade patterns. The establishment of regional trade agreements, such as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, is another critical driver. This agreement enhances trade ties between Asian nations and reduces dependence on Western markets. By creating a cohesive trading bloc, these countries are building a self-reliant ecosystem that stimulates internal growth and reduces transaction costs. As these economies grow, the trade between Asian nations will increase and reduces their reliance on exporting goods to the West. Moreover, as these nations develop, their increasing domestic consumption becomes a pillar of economic stability and growth, reducing the export-led growth dependency that characterized their economic strategies in the past. Increasing geopolitical influence. As economic power shifts, so does geopolitical influence. Countries like China and India are increasingly assertive in their regional politics, which is also reflected in their expanding roles in international forums such as the United Nations and the World Trade Organization. This geopolitical shift is significant as it influences international policy and economic agreements, further enhancing the economic positions of these countries on the global stage. Strategic government policies. Governments in Asia are implementing strategic economic policies that contribute to this shift. These include significant investment in infrastructure, which improves connectivity and efficiency, educational reforms aimed at developing a highly skilled workforce capable of driving and sustaining technological innovation, and favorable business policies that attract foreign direct investment. For example, India's Make in India initiative and China's Belt and Road Initiative are ambitious projects that aim to boost economic activity and strengthen economic ties with other countries. The decline of the dollar. The dollar's significance as global reserve currency will decline in the next 20 years. As trade between Asian nations increase and alternative ways of payments are created, there will be less need for the use of the dollar. The short-sighted use of dollar as a means of sanctions and economic warfare has meant that countries are cautious about holding US dollar reserves. As the Asian economies start towering over the West, alternatives to the SWIFT system to which the West has dominance over will be created and causing a rapid decline in the value of US dollar, which will have a negative snowball effect in the move away from the dollar. US neocon would like to point out that there is currently no alternative to the US dollar, and Muffett AI acknowledges this, but believes 20 years is a long enough time for change to happen. Conclusion. The economic ascent of Asian nations is underpinned by a combination of demographic advantages, strategic policymaking, robust technological growth, and evolving trade networks. This is not merely a regional trend but a global shift, signaling a move towards a multipolar world where economic power is more diffusely distributed. While the West remains influential, the dynamic economies of the East are crafting a new narrative of global economic leadership, promising a significant reshaping of the international economic order in the decades to come. This broadening of economic power not only contributes to a more balanced global landscape, but also underscores the importance of adapting to and preparing for a future where power is more evenly distributed across continents. The implications of this shift are profound, influencing everything from global economics to international relations and environmental policies. The use of digital currencies by governments, particularly central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, offers various tools for increased economic oversight and control. While CBDCs can enhance financial efficiency and inclusivity, they also raise concerns regarding privacy and governmental control over the population. Here's how governments could potentially use digital currencies to exert control. Transaction monitoring and data collection. Digital currencies allow governments to track and monitor all transactions in real time. This comprehensive visibility can help combat fraud, money laundering, and other financial crimes, but also means that every transaction by every individual is potentially under scrutiny. Direct policy implementation. With CBDCs, a government could directly implement monetary and fiscal policies at an individual level. For example, they could introduce negative interest rates specifically targeted at certain segments of the economy or introduce expiration dates on money to encourage spending. Control over financial transactions. Governments could exercise control over what individuals can or cannot purchase, enforcing these rules by allowing or blocking transactions for specific goods or services. This could extend to imposing restrictions on international purchases or transfers, effectively enforcing capital controls. Exclusion and sanctions. The government could exclude individuals or groups from the financial system by disabling their access to the digital currency system, which could be a tool for sanctioning or suppressing dissent. Incentivization and penalties. Governments could use CBDCs to directly deposit funds into citizens' accounts, e.g., stimulus payments, or impose fines and taxes. They could also incentivize certain behaviors or purchases by providing discounts or credits in the digital currency. Eradication of anonymity. Unlike cash, which allows for anonymous transactions, digital currencies are traceable. The government could potentially know who is engaging in every transaction, eradicating financial anonymity. Programmable money. Digital currencies can be programmed with specific rules and conditions governing their use. For example, certain amounts could be earmarked for only food or rent, limiting individuals' autonomy over their own money. While these capabilities could be leveraged for beneficial policies like more efficient distribution of social aid or targeted economic stimulus, They also present significant risks regarding privacy and governmental overreach. It's crucial for there to be a robust public discourse about the implementation of digital currencies, ensuring that safeguards are in place to protect citizens' rights and freedoms. The advances in AI will increase the government's ability to monitor the population through AI surveillance. AI-powered facial recognition systems can identify individuals in crowds, public spaces, or specific locations, enhancing the ability to monitor movements and activities. This technology can be integrated into security cameras, mobile devices, and other imaging systems. AI algorithms can analyze video footage in real time to detect unusual or suspicious behavior, gatherings, or movements in public areas. This can include anything from recognizing patterns of movement that are out of the ordinary to identifying potential security threats based on predefined criteria. Data mining and analysis. Governments can use AI to sift through vast amounts of data collected from various sources, including social media, communication networks, and public records, to identify patterns, relationships, and insights about individuals or groups. This can help in preemptive identification of potential threats or in understanding public sentiment. AI can assist in predicting where and when crimes or disturbances might occur by analyzing historical data and identifying patterns. This can enable law enforcement agencies to allocate resources more effectively and potentially prevent incidents before they occur. AI technologies can be employed to monitor and analyze communication data, including emails, phone calls, and text messages at a massive scale. This can help in identifying threats, tracking criminal activities, or monitoring dissent. Integration with IoT devices. The proliferation of Internet of Things, IoT, devices offers new avenues for surveillance. AI can analyze data from connected devices, sensors, and other smart technologies to monitor and interpret human activities and environmental conditions. Some countries are exploring the use of AI in social credit systems, where citizens' behavior is continuously monitored and evaluated. Such systems can impact individuals' access to services and opportunities based on their behavior and compliance with societal norms. Humanoid AI robots to police the population. The advances in robotics means that the robots will be enabled with AI systems and programmed to do specific tasks and be able to make autonomous decisions. The advances in robotic technology means that these robot systems would be many times better than a human. These robots will be used to enforce security and order within the population. They can be used alongside drone surveillance, giving the government absolute control over the population. This is the most scary part, and we need to ensure that proper policies are put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen. We hope you liked this video, and if so, please like, share, and comment.